So you might have had the pleasure of watching Lizzo's Amazon Prime special, Watch Out for the Big Girls, last year. But if you didn't, now we found out that 3 of Lizzo's backup dancers are now suing her for assault, sexual harassment, and discrimination during and before and after the time they were on the show. The whole point of the show is that all the contestants are competing to get on Lizzo's dance team so they can perform with her at festivals, tour with her, etc. And, you know, the women that won found out that Lizzo is not actually a good person. She's not the positive female empowerment figure that she claims to be. And I expressed my shock. Imagine my shock at this when you tell someone that they are beautiful at any size, tell them that they're perfect and that they're deserving of praise. You let them play, what was that, historic artifact flute that belonged to James Madison. Maybe it feeds into their self-aggrandizing delusions and makes them into an insufferable narcissist. Big surprise there. So she's accused of fostering a hostile work environment by 3 of her backup dancers. Other people are also backing up her claims, these claims that are made in the suit. And I read through it, and I feel like we just need to go through the most shocking parts of this case together and process the trauma. So firstly, they're not just accusing Lizzo, they're also accusing the captain of her dance team, Miss Quigley. They discovered that Miss Quigley is a just proselytizing Christian who never ceased to talk about her beliefs with the cast.
She's giving you religious folk a bad name.
And she ended up having a weird fixation on one of the dance cast's virginities, I guess. She would constantly bring this up around other people. So it came up that she was a virgin, and Miss Quigley mentioned Miss Davis's virginity in interviews she participated in, and later posted it on social media, broadcasting an intensely personal detail about Miss Davis to the world. Miss Davis never gave Quigley permission to share this private detail of her life. As one of the competitions, contestants were told to participate in a nude photo shoot. This woman did not want to do a nude photo shoot. She was then allowed to wear underwear in the photo shoot, but felt like she was going to lose her spot in the competition if she didn't participate. This is one of the sexual harassment claims. And then let's just go straight to Quigley's weird obsession with telling the cast about her sexual fantasies and doing sexual party tricks in front of the cast.
I was led to believe that men were the only ones who did stuff like this.
No, apparently not. In April 2022, when they were rehearsing in preparation for Lizzo's tour, Miss Quigley was the captain of the dance team. She preached at everyone in her surroundings, especially about her beliefs regarding Christianity and sexuality, often made comments deriding people who engaged in premarital sex, knowing that some members of the dance cast didn't share her views. Miss Quigley also had a party trick in which she would simulate oral sex on a banana in front of the rest of the dance cast. These instances were always unprompted and made the plaintiffs uncomfortable.
When is that ever
These are
prompted?
mixed messages.
Her sexually inappropriate behavior did not stop at faux fellatio. Despite her staunch beliefs in opposition to premarital sex, she had no problem sharing her masturbatory habits with the dance cast, often stating things to the effect, "Masturbating is against my religion, but today I had an oopsie." Her sexually explicit comments were so pervasive, the entire dance team knew about her sexual fantasy of having 10 penises in her face. Very weird.
A bit arbitrary.
Wow. Something I never thought I'd hear.
So that's just the start of the banana trauma. Later on, when they were on tour, Lizzo decided to take them to one of the bars in the red light district of Amsterdam. So she decided to take them to something called the Bananen Bar in Amsterdam without telling them first what this was. She invited them out on the town. They didn't know why or where they were going, but they felt like participating was mandatory or else they were at danger of losing their jobs. I think if I were in their position and I wasn't comfortable with going somewhere like a sex club, then I would just say no. And I would
go home,
go home, lose my job.
Yeah, cut your losses. Yeah.
Sometimes your integrity comes at the cost of money. This particular evening, Lizzo sent out the invite through her close friend, Shanta. As it turns out, Lizzo had planned a night out in the red light district, known for its abundance of sex theaters, sex shops, and clubs and bars, where nudity is on full display. The main event was a club called Banana Bar, where patrons are allowed to interact with nude performers. Plaintiffs expressed misgivings about the plans for the night, but Shanta stated it was too late to back out because she'd already sent Lizzo the head count for the evening. Feeling the looming pressure of job insecurity, the plaintiffs reluctantly went along for the evening. While at Banana Bar, things quickly got out of hand. Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' vaginas, and eating bananas that were protruding from the performers' vaginas. And this is where the claim comes from that she made us eat bananas out of sex workers' vaginas. This is just... I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Then Lizzo turned to Miss Davis, the one who said she was a virgin, and began pressuring her to touch the breasts of one of the nude performers. She began leading a chant, goading Miss Davis, saying her name 3 times, loud enough for all to hear. After she said, "I'm good, I'd rather not, I'd rather just, chill here in the corner," the chorus became overwhelming, and a mortified Miss Davis acquiesced in an attempt to bring an end to the chants. She briefly touched the performer's breasts. The group burst into laughter. She abashedly laughed along, trying to hide how uncomfortable she was. Her efforts to conceal her discomfort were apparently unsuccessful, as on separate occasions, the management in attendance, as well as Lizzo's security guards, asked her if she was okay. She replied kind of to one request and no to the other. In addition to pressuring this woman to interact with a nude performer, they said all in attendance were unable to avoid witnessing Lizzo's incredibly public displays of sexual affection with her boyfriend.
There's a $20 super chat there from Grin.
He said, "Imagine being the poor soul who catches an STD by eating a banana out of a stripper. Yikes."
Oh, boy.
I mean, at that point, you got to take accountability for your actions.
By the way, before we continue, I did put up a poll today, ladies and gentlemen. I asked you what your favorite dessert was: banana split, chocolate-covered bananas, banana flambe, and banana cream
Let us
pie.
know.
So far, banana split is in the lead.
I wonder why. And at one point, Lizzo and her boyfriend took Shanta and 2 other members of the band which performed with Lizzo on tour to a back room before returning sometime later. We'll never know what happened in that back room, but it was probably something disgusting.
involving bananas.
Involving
Party
bananas.
tricks. A lot of party tricks.
Upon her return to the main club, Lizzo began to pressure a member of her security team to participate in the night's debauchery, and badgered this security guard to get on the club stage until he submitted to her demands. When he got on stage, which he should not have done.
No, he should have just
to
quit.
be fair. I mean, he should have quit if he had any dignity, but he doesn't. So his pants were pulled down, exposing his buttocks. Lizzo then began yelling, "Take it off!" while a club performer hit the security guard with whips. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. So, not the best boundaries to have with your boss. I get it. I get that the guy might have felt like he had to do it in order to keep his job, but ultimately
That's the
it's
whole
your
issue,
choice, you know?
Yeah, there's both things. Like peer pressure is very real, especially when it's not just peer pressure, it's your boss telling you to do it too.
But this is like if Brett made like a lawsuit against Tim and said he would constantly invite me to go skating with him, and I felt like I had to or else I would lose my job.
Exactly. Sometimes he does want to go skate at like 8 in the morning, and I'm like, bro, like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday to go skate.
Oof.
Now, granted, he's not inviting you to a strip club, but I imagine, you know, if you were uncomfortable with doing something that your boss invites you to do, you should say no.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And I'm not just saying that because Lizzo is a woman. That goes for anybody. And then after they went to Banana Bar, Lizzo planned a trip for them to go to a nude cabaret bar in France together without telling them that the people performing there were going to be nude. And once again, they were uncomfortable and felt like there was this looming sexual pressure all around the tour at the same time as this choreographer constantly preaching to them about how they shouldn't have premarital sex.
Yeah.
She's the voice of reason in all
Very
this.
weird. Well, it sounds like that, but I feel like that the faux fellatio on a banana thing kind of ruins it.
Yeah, definitely.
What's with the theme of bananas that keeps coming up? I just don't understand.
I assume that Lizzo doesn't eat a whole lot of bananas.
I mean,
my guess in general.
people
so.
are more
There's just a lot
shocked that she's
laying
willing to
around.
share food with anybody.
Nobody wants to eat the bananas.
And I looked at the claims of body shaming, racial discrimination, disability discrimination, and I feel like these are less credible claims. They're more based on, oh, I felt judged, or I felt like this was the implication. And it's just some girl drama shit that they decided to bring to a court of law, which you would never see happen between men who just talk things out or fight things out in a parking lot. Just seems like something that isn't as serious as other claims like, oh, we weren't paid fairly, or we were forced to not take other jobs while the tour was on a break. Those are things you can bring to the court. Feeling like someone implied that you were gaining weight on tour and that it was hurting your job performance, it's an implication that you assumed because of your insecurities, probably, right? But it is ironic to imagine Lizzo fat shaming someone,
It is very weird.
right?
Yeah.
Because her being fat, she would say that has nothing to do with my dance performance. I'm always at the top of my game. But you guys,
The twerk game.
this one woman said that she had been gaining weight on the tour because of all the stress and anxiety she was experiencing, and that she she felt compelled to talk about the fact that she had a binge eating disorder with the choreographer and with Lizzo, when they were telling her that she didn't seem as bubbly and vivacious as she used to. So it's just like, I felt like you were implying something that doesn't really hold up
hard to
to
prove.
scrutiny in a court.
Right.
But the worst part of this, I think, is an attempted assault allegation. Let me scroll down to when this is detailed. Basically, Lizzo had fired 2 of her employees on the tour, and there was a lot of tension in the team. And one of them wanted to speak to Lizzo and say, hey, I think it was kind of inappropriate the way that you just fired them both. And she just didn't feel like it was fair. So during the meeting in which Miss Davis was fired, Lizzo became increasingly more irate when Miss Rodriguez explained that she did not appreciate how Lizzo handled the situation and the termination, and that she was therefore resigning. Lizzo approached her aggressively, yelling profanities, cracking her knuckles, and balling her fists, apparently preparing herself to attack Miss Rodriguez. Lizzo exclaimed, "You're lucky. You are so effing lucky." Miss Rodriguez feared Lizzo intended to hit her and would have done so if one of the other dancers had not intervened. Lizzo was restrained and pulled away before she could contact Miss Rodriguez. 3 other members of the dance cast escorted Rodriguez to her hotel room so she could pack her things. And they thought that Lizzo was going to come back for round 2 and try to attack her after the fact. Just imagine like Lizzo aggressively bounding up to you. She probably could win in most fights.
Yeah,
because
she's
she
not
has
very
that
fast.
stamina.
Yeah.
And she's large. She could probably like suffocate you if she got on top of you.
Yeah. but
It's a
she's
lethal
moving
threat.
slow.
It's a
Yeah,
lethal threat. I
yeah.
would lose in a fight to Lizzo. I'll admit that right here.
I don't think so. You can run.
You think?
You could prevent a fight.
I don't
You're
know
way
if I beat her
faster.
on crazy stats.
Well, no, but you're fast. You know,
Have
you're
you seen
faster
her
than
play
her.
a flute? She's pretty quick.
With her
She's
finger.
she's got the
she could move.
agility,
Yeah.
the stamina.
Maybe in like a 6
all her
inch
stats are all the way up, maxed out. I don't know about charisma though. Depends on who you ask.
Well, depends.
Stamina,
Only
not
like
up
to her
there.
millions of fans who don't actually know her. To the people who really genuinely know her, it seems like it's not always the most pleasant experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she seems kind of sadistic. Her
Yeah.
behavior from reading this, it seems pretty sadistic. Like, eat the banana.
Yeah, and another situation, the dancers went through an 8-hour rehearsal for her tour, and then Lizzo showed up and called a meeting where she said, we're doing some cuts. I'm gonna fire some people, because your performance has just not been up to par. I think you guys have been drinking before the shows. They said that had no substantiation, but she accused them of drinking before shows and was blaming that for their performance. She accused the overworking dancers and made up a re-audition that lasted 4 hours nonstop, no breaks. One of the dancers in this case says that she soiled herself during this re-audition because she felt like if she asked to take a break that she would get cut from the team.
There's a $20 one there from Cody Boudreau. I'm not sure if you want to read that one, but you can if you want.
He said, "My sister and I both think Lizzo is disgusting. This is the left's champion." Well, it's just ironic how Lizzo is constantly preaching about love and light and positivity. Oh, crisis parties going on. Thank you.
It's party time.
It's like people who say, be kind. There's nobody meaner to you than
Right,
somebody who
exactly.
says be kind in their profile.
Because you're projecting on everyone else.
Yes,
That's funny.
She's preaching about like body positivity when apparently she's body shaming these women. And she's the one that purposefully wanted the big girls to be her backup dancers. So it's ironic. I guess she felt like she couldn't shine when there were other fat women on stage.
She felt threatened.
Oh, wow.
And clearly she is probably insufferable to work with, whether these claims are true or not. Other people have backed them up. A former creative director for Lizzo has backed up these claims, said, "I'm not part of the lawsuit, but this was very much my experience in my time there. I applaud the dancers' courage to bring this to light." Filmmaker Sophia Allison says she dropped out as a director of Lizzo's documentary in 2019 after facing mistreatment from her. Quote, "I was treated with such disrespect by her. I witnessed how arrogant, self-centered, and unkind she is." And also Beyonce has edited one of her songs on Break My Soul to remove a reference to Lizzo's name.
Likely
So-
will be brought back once all this stuff goes away, once they either pay these people off or the
Well,
stories disappear.
after Lizzo got semi-canceled for saying the word spaz in one of her songs, Beyonce responded to that and she took the word spaz out of her own song.
Yeah.
So I don't imagine that Beyonce is any nicer of a person.
Also, these
to
are
her
kind
employees,
of, they're
but-
not Me Too allegations, but they're dangerously close to sexualized stuff. And
Well, it's
Beyonce's the
weird,
one who
yeah.
had the Me Too test for her producers and stuff.
It's like, how do we parse out like having a culture of like sex positivity and body positivity and all of this stuff, but at the same time make people uncomfortable in the name of like tolerance and acceptance? Like, if they don't want to do a nude photo shoot to seem empowered, then you're kind of crossing a line there, But at the same time, I feel like these women should have just left if they felt like they were getting taken advantage of.
Right. I mean, Lizzo is in a position of power, so I think it is kind of more on her, but I do agree with you 100%. If you're in a situation where you feel that uncomfortable, you should just leave. And that, if Lizzo's mad at you and fires you later, then you could probably sue her for that.
Well,
You could band together.
There's a $20 super chat there from Peter Conrad Jr. Pete Conrad Jr.
He said, "Am I the only one who thinks that Mary reading that is strangely erotica?
You're the only one.
I certainly hope you are the only one." The banana jokes are just never going to leave Lizzo. It's going to haunt her forever. I count on that.
Yeah.
And she deserves it, seemingly. I'm just waiting for like some kind of response. Like, is she going to just deny all of it?
She'll wait it out. I'm sure
Yeah.
she'll wait it out.
Yeah, the rest of it, the racial discrimination claims kind of seemed bunk. They were just saying, the management was mostly white, and it was specifically the black dancers who were targeted with comments that they're lazy or that they had a bad attitude or something, which is all still your assumptions that you're making about people's attitudes towards you. But yeah, the rest of it definitely is damning. I'll say that. I'm excited to see where this heads next.
Yeah, I think she'll either come out and play the victim or just stay silent till it blows over.
What do you think, Brett?
She'll she'll probably end up playing the victim, I guess, and blame the media.
Or can you just ignore something like this until it goes away?
Maybe. I mean,
because the news cycle is so fast that like something else will come up that people are angry about.
Yeah, and like they'll settle out of court, and then they won't talk about it anymore because they'll have settled it out of court, and then it'll become something that people bring up every once in a while when she screws up in the future, and then it'll disappear from the news cycle again.
I can imagine her trying to justify all that just by saying people just don't know how to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, like it's their fault.
You literally sound like Harvey Weinstein. But like if she were a man, the conversation about this would be way different. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, probably.
And her fan base is just so rabid that they probably won't believe any of these claims anyway, because she's a hero for fat acceptance and female empowerment, blah, blah, blah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.